welcome to Sit Still, Look Pretty.
Oh, I just have to say, your voice sounds like really amazing today. I think even with the sore throat, guys, Priya is having sore throat. But even with the sore throat, right, y'all should rewind back and hear her say, welcome to Sit Still, Look Pretty.
I feel like you're showing me all the love today, specifically because it's the month of February, Priyanka.
That's right. It's my birthday month. Happy birthday to me. I'm so shameless at this point, but then again, it's my show, so...
Oh, look at you. I mean, that's the way to do it. Everybody, please wish our dear Priyanka a very happy birthday all the way in Germany.
That's right. Unfortunately, celebrating with me, myself, and I.
But you should know everybody's probably thinking about you, Priyanka. So all our thoughts should be hoarding your brain.
You better. Y'all better, actually. And also, happy birthday to all the Aquariuses in both of our lives. I think
Yes.
we are one of the best people to exist on planet Earth, if I may say so.
I shall not confirm nor deny that fact.
Okay, but anyways, topic of the month. So for this month, we are discussing about honoring self-made individuals. I think this topic was a very much needed topic to be talking about, especially in the year of 2023. I think for people who have been following us on Instagram and I know there has been a lot of we have been dropping a few hints here and there, since I think the month of November onwards, we were dropping hints and saying that, oh my God, Sit Still Look Pretty is growing. We are having listeners come in and all those things. So at this point, me and Priya thought that this topic is definitely very much essential because of the fact that once upon a time, we both did not have this label above us, we were not in this position that we are being seated here today. But it was because of the fact that we decided to pursue the things that we want to pursue today that we are even able to talk about self-made individuals. As much as this is our show and it does feel a little bit of oh my God, there's so much arrogance, they're going to be talking about themselves. Guys, we promise this is beyond just talking about ourselves, but definitely we want to give our perspective. Of course, as usual, the guest speaker will be giving you guys the best kind of perspective because our invited guest speaker, I'm giving a little tease, our invited guest speaker for this topic is a real inspiration for the both of us as well.
Truly self-made, I think.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, to talk more about us and our journey of becoming self-made individuals, definitely I don't think we can say that we own the title. I think it's still a journey that we are traveling. Sure. But I hope that this topic and our discussion today inspires people out there who want to be self-made individuals. You guys want to run your own stuff. And for us, our self-made individual kind of a journey came because of Sit Still Look Pretty. And I know ever since we started, there has been a lot of questions to the both of us of oh my God, since when do you guys do this? Or there are a lot of people in our lives who don't even know the existence of our Radio Heatwave days, whereby we used to do something like that. And it used to be called Ilamaya Espresso.
Oh, the good old days.
Exactly. So that's where we started, of which I won't elaborate because I think there are episodes whereby we talked about it. But that was done during our school. So it was only the similar setting of Sit Still Look Pretty. It happened when we were back in Ngee Polytechnic. But it was monitored by our school. And it was completely the funding and stuff. It was never there was nothing to worry about basically when it comes to expenses.
Yeah.
But right now, Priya would like to add on about the number of things that we shoulder at this point.
I think that is the hard truth of being a self-made individual, right? Is that most of the times when you're starting, you have to be your own sponsor. And I think because we come from a background of mass comm and media production, we are very particular about the quality of content that we put out because it cannot be less than perfection according to Priya and Priyanka's standard.
Job hazard, guys. It's truly a job hazard moment, I say.
Yeah. Doing a podcast can be can be done in a very affordable way. You know, if you're looking to start a podcast, I think from the start, we knew exactly how we pictured Sit Still Look Pretty, and we wanted it to have a certain setting. And I mean, I don't even have to say this, but you know, having Priyanka as the creative director for Sit Still Look Pretty, she is very particular about the image, the vision that she has. So
Guys,
I
don't
knew
fall for
from
it.
the-
It seems that like Priya is praising me, right? But that's a subtle way of saying the amount of cost that Priyanka incurs. We get it. Move on.
No. The reason Priya and Priyanka work is because I have just as much faith and believe in her vision as she does. And I agree with it wholeheartedly. And that's why we are the pre-prees, the pretties. But we knew from the get-go that we were going to get a studio. We wanted to have a certain look. But, you know, it wasn't going to end there. It wasn't just going to be a podcast, like full audio that was going to put out for people to listen. There was going to be promo that was involved. There was going to be photo shoots. There was music. There was going to be a TikTok page. There was going to be, set design and all of this, these things.
Videography for promo once again.
That's true. Clearly, a lot goes into creating a single episode of Sit Still Look Pretty. It's really no joke. But I think I have to say, I mean, to sum it up, all of these costs, can seem a little extensive, right? But I think this is worth it when it comes to you and I and the content that we are producing, is because I feel like it speaks for itself, right? When you look at the content we produce, I think we focus a lot on quality, a lot of professionalism. When you look at it, you feel like you are watching something that's done professionally, and that's what we are chasing at the end of the day. So even if, it means we are cutting into our salary, a big sum of our salary, and putting it forth into Sit Still Look Pretty every single month.
I just want to say that a bulk of Sit Still Look Pretty that you guys tune into does come from like our own pocket. And I just want to say, as much as like there is a creative vision behind this, I'm really, really very thankful in the aspect of you being on the same page, because the money comes out from the both of us. And that I also want to add that, as much as we're talking about honoring self-made individuals, I think there have been months whereby it was honestly very hard for the both of us to sail financially, whereby, a lot of so-called, I would say, even the things that we mindlessly spend on. For an example, like even there has been instances, right, when I want to buy Starbucks, like to buy that particular drink, and I'll stop myself because I will be like, no, this money has to go in for our recording. And I think for you, it has also been the same thing. And like, but there was never a moment whereby we looked at each other and be like, wow, there's really so much of money being pumped into Sit Still Look Pretty, because at the end of the day, like what Priya says, I don't think at the point that we are standing now or being seated right now, we would have never achieved this if it wasn't from the start. So I just want to say, for people who are starting, it's really a lot of sacrifices. Whoever you're going to be doing this with, they literally have to be on the same page as you. That's the only way that, especially you want to start to try your own things, it can run.
Yeah.
And speaking about the birth of Sit Still Look Pretty, right? It was actually something that we wanted to do since 2020 was the time that Priya was going to explore corporate and like working full time, and I was going to do my degree. So I was like, damn, the journey shouldn't just stop. So I can still remember it was during our Christmas dinner. We were sitting down and I was telling Priya, I said that, you know what, I really want to bring back what we were doing back then in Radio Heatwave. And I was telling her, saying that like, but at that point of time, I can still remember, I couldn't put a finger to it. And so did Priya, because we were bouncing off ideas and we were like, should this be a YouTube channel, or like, should we explore like...
I think even producing independent film, like for film initiatives So we did actually, I don't know if you remember, we actually started. Yeah.
Oh my
Priyanka has forgotten. Priyanka, I'm actually a little hurt because I want you to know.
Oh God.
Yeah, we did.
Freak. Okay.
And we set up our Google Drive. We did the research. We found a certain competition that we wanted to apply in for. We discussed the storyline. We came up with our characters. We were on the verge of starting the screenplay. And I don't know exactly. I can't pinpoint it to one single problem that stopped that process. But I do remember myself and Priyanka finding ourselves in very difficult situations. I think with her just entering uni, I think it was catching up to her, and I was a hot mess.
We are straight on stepping into adulthood with all the work stuff coming in.
So it was a lot to handle, and it kind of just it just kind of fiddled out to a stop, like fizzed out.
Yeah.
Right?
But as much as it fizzed out, I can definitely say one thing. We were damn right sure that this is going to happen someday. We just couldn't figure out like when or what exactly it's going to be, but every single time we were so sure. Like after that Christmas dinner, I know that because there were moments after that when we, as much as like I was doing my degree and you started working like your stuff, there were periods that we came back together because we were working on like, as usual, Priya and I are forever working on something that's going out on television or whatsoever, or conceptualizing something. So we were working on other stuff for other people. And even during, what's the most beautiful thing, like to me during those moments, like we will be on set and we'll be watching like a shoot going on, or we will be conceptualizing a concept for like another director. And even during those moments, we will always find ourselves going, okay, but when we start doing this, or like when we start running our own like set or whatsoever, these are the things that we should do. These are the things we should never ever do. And I always felt like we were always taking pointers. We were always running back to each other and being like, hey, I think this concept is so cool. We should work on it one day. So I guess like on that part, I'm mighty proud of us, because that ideation, that talking to each other at like every point, it never ever stopped. So now comes the question of, so when did you guys realize that it's now time to start So It Still Look Pretty?
It was a very difficult time, don't you think? It was, I have to say that, I mean, I know Priyanka will do the official introduction, but can I just say, to start you off, that you would think, the right time would be the time where we are sort of settled in life, like there's not too many problems going on. We feel like we have everything together and we have time and space to introduce something new. But oh my God, was it the worst time of our lives, I think. We were so lost in life at that moment, and it wasn't that long ago, Priyanka, if you remember.
That's the thing that I found like So It Still Look Pretty very amusing, because all my life I always thought that there will be a perfect moment in life whereby that higher energy will speak to you and say that, okay, now is the time to go and do things on your own. But this entire experience of So It Still Look Pretty taught me that sometimes the worst things when it happens in your life, that's when you will have this higher calling and this like vision of like, now is the time, like I have to go full force. And I can still remember that phone call when I called you on the phone and I said, you know what, Priya, it's time, let's do this. And I think my biggest fear when I was calling you was the fact of like, maybe you might say like, no, because truth be told, guys, we were I'm not kidding you. I know that this might sound exaggerated, but we were literally at rock bottom. Like it was truly like a lot of things were happening at the same time for us, personal life and a lot of other things. And like I said, financially, not say to start this requires money, not say we were like thriving with like, like about 5 digits in our bank. No.
I think it was hard to say, like, so it wasn't even 3 digits, Priyanka.
Sometimes, some days it were 2 digits, in our bank account. But I guess like the support of like a lot of people really came through during that point of time. And more than anything, I think when we talk about honoring self-made individuals, I really think that when we say self-made, we give this credit to these people is because of the fact that us trusting ourselves that we can pull this off. Sometimes I feel, and that's one of the reasons why I feel a lot of people don't take that leap of faith to start something or to try something, because at the end of the day you need to trust yourself, because there is a 50-50. You can fail this, it can go bad, you can decide to stop doing this one day. There are all the ifs, that you're also taking that plunge to try this. So I guess I would say that here we are today with Still Look Pretty, 6 episodes completed in 2022, 1 Deepavali special, 1 Christmas special, and we are moving forward to 2023, whereby I really think it was a very short period of time, but excessive amount of growth, a lot of hard work, a lot of sacrifices that truly turned a lot of things around for us and made us trust ourselves that we are doing this right. We are bringing upon a good. And of course, without you guys, I don't think Sit Still Look Pretty will even function. Thank you for listening to us, for streaming in, for the feedback, the comments.
I do want to say that, me and Priyanka, we gave everything that we had into making sure that Sit Still Look Pretty was at its best. And if that meant, having weekly meetings, we would literally come up with an agenda, a deck of a slide deck every week. I think it was every Thursday or Friday, and after her classes and after we're done with work, I think we would meet each other and we'll go, okay, so these are the things that we have to get done and these are the things that we have to do for the next week's meeting. And on top of this, she'll be scripting, I'll be ensuring that we have our studio bookings. I'm liaising with all our artists who are coming on board, all the guest speakers that we are having, making sure that our set looks this pretty every single time. And our photo shoots are as planned as well, all the outfits that we're wearing, the theme that we are going for. So it's a lot of work, but I want to say in the 6 episodes that we've done, we've seen a clear picture of if you put in your 100%, something will come back to you. For all the hard work that you're putting out into the world, I think the good will find its way to you. The beginning of that would be our scape competition. Don't you think?
That's right.
I think the first time me and Priyanka were like, okay, we have produced something of a certain standard, it's looking good, was when we actually applied for the Escape Podcast Plus competition and we got the news that we were selected to be part of the competition. That felt surreal because I think at that point we had released about 4 episodes.
Yeah.
So it felt like a big moment. I think it gave us a sense of self-realization that, hey, we're on the right path. We are putting out good content and let's just go take part and see where it takes us. And thank God that we did, because that's where we found the idea for What Do I Do Now?
That's right. Oh my God, the Christmas special series.
And it was, I think, I think I can speak for myself and Priyanka when I say that concept is so freaking close to both our hearts, because I think it is a very, very personal thing to share with our listeners and to be putting it out to the public. It's very nerve-wracking because you're sharing about a lot of vulnerable issues. But I think it's such a unique and cool concept. But oh my gosh, guys, let me tell you, when I say that when me and Priyanka hustle, we hustle.
I can still remember I would just finish reading my script in front of my entire class and I'm getting feedback, and during that moment I'm also typing the concept pitch for us in between class, and I was thinking in my head, I was like, what is even going on at this point of time? But it was such a stressful period, I can remember, because there was the competition going on, our pitching was going on. On top of it, we were filming in advance for Sit Still Look Pretty for 2023. So that 6 episodes were going on. And then there's the existing 22. Now I can finally share everything. Existing 2022 episodes that are going on. You know, at some point of time, to be very honest, of course, like, you know, sometimes when you're hustling so much, you know, it's the thing whereby you are not supposed to tell each other that, hey, this is a lot that's going on. So we wouldn't tell each other that it's a lot going on, you know. But in my heart, I would just sometimes pray. I was just thinking that, okay, as long as, you know, Priya and I are saint and we are not like, you know, falling down, but our way of saint is to not ask each other, are you okay? Because there's a danger question.
You cannot open that emotion anytime soon, you know.
It's like just hustle and finish everything, then have this moment of like, so you know what happened?
Oh my God. But yeah, when you put it like that, it truly, I think there's a lot of misconception in terms of self-made individuals, in a sense that we think when you choose to take on the route of a self-made individual, you have more control of your time, you're able to delegate properly, you can have a great work-life balance. But oh my God, I'm telling you, it's like it's like worse than working a full-time job.
It truly is. I know it will sound exaggerated because in a sense it will come out as like, but you guys are doing the things that you love, what? It's passion, what? But let me tell you, running Sit Still Look Pretty, it's like, you edit, you script, you produce, you find who does your photo shoot. It's like
You
everything.
design.
Yeah.
It's...
Oh my God. It's everything is always you. And like, you know, there were moments where, you know, sometimes it reaches like the agony and the pain does get to you sometimes because you're managing so many things. And like during those moments, I'll look at Priya and be like, I can't wait for the time that Sister Look Pretty hires a team.
I mean, it may happen in the future. I think me and Priyanka also understand to reach that stage in life, there has to be, you know, a period where you have to sacrifice that element first. And we are in the midst of doing that, you know. If there's anything to take away, I feel like just start, right? If you're looking to start something, if you're passionate about something, if something keeps calling your name and it's unconventional, it's tough, but it speaks to you, it makes your soul cry, it makes your soul happy, go for it.
I also want to wrap this up by saying that I think I really want to put this out there. I think that it's very nice for me to see that there are a lot of young aspiring individuals that are coming up these days. I don't know whether you're noticing the pattern, but there are so many young people out there who want to start something of their own, be it or not it's a business or like it's content creation or it's like any like little dream of your own that you want to start. I always feel like it starts with a hesitation, number one. Number two, it's always the age factor that comes in. Am I too young? Like, do I have enough experiences? I think many a times in our life, we are always filled with like a million self-doubt. And if there's any like my 5 cent worth of advice is go and try doing what you want to do and then figure it out when the journey starts. That's basically what I really want to say. Because sometimes financially it wasn't a right time for us. If we was to sit down and think about it, mentally it wasn't a good time to be doing Sit Still Look Pretty, if I will be really honest. And physically, in all honesty and truth, were we extremely inspired at that point of our lives to be running Sit Still Look Pretty? No. But sometimes I feel that put your leg in, try it, and then figure things out as it goes. Because I really feel like that was the entire starting, like the first half journey of Sit Still Look Pretty.
Yeah.
Like we didn't really have the A to Z figured out, but we ensured there was always discipline mixed with it. Like what Priya said, weekly meetings, you know, before we even started posting like the promo material and everything, nobody knows the number of decks that went behind like a promo material, a design material.
Yeah.
It was like, I think 2 to 3 months worth of work, you guys, like before we even started. So the journey will be hard. The sacrifices are real, but don't let anyone tell you it is impossible until you tell yourself it's impossible after trying at least. At Sit Still Look Pretty, we support girl bosses.
That's right.
And every other individual that wants to start something of their own. We are with you. We wish you well. And we really hope you go and create your magic no matter what it is. Just go and start. Like, That's the only thing I really want to leave behind in this episode of Honoring Self-Made Individual. Be that individual.
Beautifully said, my love. All right, everybody. Now we are finally moving on to the guest speaker segment, which I think is what most of our listeners look forward to.
That's right.
And we look forward to. And today, we have a very special guest with us. It is none other than Mahalakshmi here with us, also known as Maha. Maha had first kickstarted her journey as a freelance hairstylist, acquainting herself with intricacies of hair care. After years of chemical damage to her own mane, she immersed herself in extensive research and practice, eventually transitioning into her crown of curly hair. This labor of love paved the path for her own brand, Mane Game, as well as the co-founder of Mane Heaven.
That's not that all there is to her. There's a lot more in the sense that she's a very familiar household name, I must add, because in 2014, she was Miss Vasantham 5th runner-up. And I still remember it because I'm an avid Miss Vasantham watcher, if there's even a term like that. But without fail, I always watch. And definitely, Maha, I remember you on that stage. And since then, it's so beautiful to see how much you have grown. And I think another thing that is very prominent, I think all of us can remember for sure, is the bad girl that you played in Victory. That's something that a lot of us identify with. And today, it's so nice to see you running your own business, inspiring people on your social media. I think your social media is such a positive space for people to follow. More than that, me and Priya are so soft about the fact that you're a mum boss too. You're cutie little pie.
We love a mum boss here on Sit Still Look Pretty. And officially, welcome Maha. Welcome to Sit Still Look Pretty.
Thank you, guys. Oh my God, I couldn't have done it better myself. I was like, oh my God, give me a pillow. I need to hide. So shy. But thank you so much. It was such a wonderful introduction that I did not expect. You guys really did your homework.
Yes, we
Oh
did.
my God, impressed. And thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here with you girls.
So this month's episode, right, it discusses the topic honoring self-made individuals. So the topic shines light on individuals who have taken on the odds in order to pursue their goals and aspiration. So with regards to that, we want to ask you, what's the first thing that comes to your mind when we say self-made individuals?
Honestly, I have never to date have ever mentioned the word that I'm self-made. That is the truth. And today when I sit with you guys and when you bring me on board for this particular topic, the honor of it just kind of dawns upon you slowly. And then you're like, okay, I finally humbly accept that I am self-made. There was no favor that was handed over to me. Whatever I have today, whatever I do today was everything purely because of hard work and definitely a lot of passion and determination. And that's what that first comes to me, wow, I am actually self-made.
You
Wow,
are,
that
yes.
kind. And thank you girls for letting me know that kind of new fact for me,
She's too humble, guys.
Yeah.
She's too humble. Let's travel back in time now before we start talking about all things Mane Heaven related. First thing first, let's acknowledge your official entrance into the mainstream media through Miss Vasantham. So back then, tell us, how old was Maha when she was entering this competition?
Little Maha was 24.
Oh,
I know, so cute, so young, so naive.
what
So many
was
things.
your sole purpose back then when you were entering?
Honestly, Maha was still figuring out life then. So she didn't really have a purpose. More like I was encouraged to take part in Miss Vasantham. And when I remember when I came out from the auditions, I told my sister and my friend that, nope, not happening. Don't think so. Like that, And then I got a call after that. And then we went into it. And I just went in because I thought, hey, okay, let's just see where this takes me. And I had some modeling background. So I thought, okay, there's photo shoot. Let's put that skill into use, And then I pushed limits. Halfway through is when I kind of figured my purpose in this competition was to allow people to see me for who I was, as an individual. And I realized that my purpose became that I wanted people to know me as Maha, as who I was, as a person, And I think that is what that I carried through until the end of the pageant, I would say.
How do you think the competition has served you as a stepping stone? Now, when you look back, how do you see it as a stepping stone for yourself?
It opened many doors. Yeah, because I think like Miss V, right? It was after Miss V ended, or during and after it ended, I realized that there was a huge surge in followers. And then I always knew that I had a voice, and I'm very, very vocal about what I feel, what I want to do and things like that. So I knew I had a voice, but I wasn't sure where to, what do I want to do? What do I want to talk about? How do I get to people? What is this about? So when I had that search, there were also a lot of girls who DM'd me, and, they're like, oh, Akka, I'm a big fan. I'm following you. And I was like, like, there's so much of like attention. And I was like, okay, we need to do something with this, right? Like to create. So I started to look like for topics that I was passionate about. I would talk to on my platform about it. I took people through like fragments of my life, like what I do, work, or, I'm just going out, or, what I think and things like that. And somehow it grew. And then I realized that I wanted to inspire. And then more things came about. I ventured into businesses. The curly hair kind of opened up a whole new gateway. For all this to happen, I think Miss V had to happen. Yeah. So I think that was how it really, I'm very, very thankful for all that Miss V gave me. I may not have won the competition. I may not be like, on TV every single day and all that. But man, it opened up so many doors for me, and I'm so, so grateful for that.
And I think one of the doors that it opened for you for sure is acting also. I named one of the dramas, which was Vetri, but I want to ask you now when you look back, what would you say is like your fondest memory?
I did ATM, Alagiya Tamil Magal. And I played a helper's role, Sundari, okay? And people started calling me that outside. Like, that's Sundari, like that, Sundari, very naughty, like, this kind of thing. Comments would come by. And I was actually very skeptical in the beginning to take the role, because, I came out of the pageant, and then suddenly, like how to do a helper role, that kind of thing. And then I was like, but Mala, who was my director, then she convinced me. She said, this is a challenge, take it up. So I was like, okay. And I did, I had to master the slang to it, the action, and they made me do some strange dance like that, all, this kind of thing. The entire character, I ended up enjoying it so much. And I was so happy that it suddenly became like a household name. Like now, it's been about 5 years, I think. 5 years, I would say, ever since ATM came out. Until now, people do recognize me for that role, that specific role. And it makes me so happy. Like, I don't need an award. I'm happy with this. I think that was my fondest memory.
From viewers' point of view, I have to say, that time when I was watching it, you were outstanding.
Oh
like,
my God.
Priya, like, I'm not kidding. Yeah. So I can totally imagine why you became a household name, and like people still recognize, because I think it's one thing to play that role. It's another thing to execute perfection, to own it. I think you made a lot of people recognize, even now in industry, I would say, that I want to bring this out, that there are certain times, like we have worked on industry projects, and many a times both Priya and I have heard the thing of like, I don't want to take up this role. I don't know how this will portray me in that light. But definitely I feel like you are one person who owned it, and definitely it's something that you see, the moment you said it, I was like, yes. Agreed.
Thank you. I must say that after that, right, there was a small stigma attached to it. There was like, hey, you want to do helper role again? And I was like, no, I'm done. I just wanted to explore my passion for the art, for my craft, and I did this. But that does not mean I want to continue doing it, right? Yeah. So I think it's like, that's in an actor's diary, that character played a good part.
Yeah. As a public figure, it is undeniable that looks play a role in a public's acceptance towards a model or actress. So with that said, what would you consider as your biggest insecurity back then when you faced the general audience?
Back then, I had a lot of insecurities. I have definitely like taken a long time to get over it, and then it was things like, I don't have the straightest set of teeth. I was also like an XXS, I was a size 0, I was really skinny. It would be really hard to find clothes, my length and my size to come together. So those kind of things kind of frightened me, but made me a bit anxious when I was around, like in a pageant, or when I started to do acting on TV and things like that. I would worry. Like, there was a point in the beginning where I would refuse to look at my episodes, refuse to look at myself, because I was just not sure about how I might feel, So it took me a while to get there, to tell myself that I'm not sure what I'm so afraid of. I'm doing so many things and yet I don't want to watch myself, So my best friend, my sister, they all had to talk to me. They said, hey, I really love you for who you are. And, all that is very nice to hear. But, you have to come to terms with it yourself.
That's right.
Right? So I took the time. I definitely took the time, and I pushed boundaries. I pushed it. I started to explore things. I started to come in front of camera even more. I made more videos. I talked more. I had to get comfortable with myself. And I think that's the most important thing, right? To get comfortable in your own skin. And when you conquer that, you conquer everything else. You may not be the most conventional pretty face here. You're not like by the book, that societal standards of beauty. You don't have to fit all that, chuck all that away. And the moment you accept yourself for yourself, and you bring, you're confident about what you do, you are passionate about what you do, and that is all that matters. You will reach people, you will reach yourself, So, you mentioned self-made. I would like to say that I am self-love made.
Now that our listeners have learned about your prime time as a model or actress, let's move forward to honoring a wonderful business initiative that was started along your friend. So today, known by many as Main Heaven, how did you meet your business partner?
My business partner is Vijay. Vijay and I actually go a long way back. We knew each other in our teens, 15, 16, like that, 16, 17, somewhere there. And then we kind of lost touch. Life took us in different directions. And then when I started talking about the curly transition, I realized that there was another page called Curly Heaven. She was also doing, she was featuring curly girls and things like that. I was like, who's this? Like that, So I was like, hey, friend, hi. Can we get to know each other? And then we already know each other. So that's how Vijay and I got back together. And then we started talking about all these curly hair things in Singapore and all that. We got on a call. One night, we talked until about 4 a.m. and we realized that, okay, we need to do this, because we realized that there was a gap. Curly girls want to embrace their curls, but do they have the resources? Do they have the products? Do they have people telling them how to do it? Who is doing all this? And we realized that, okay, we will bridge this gap. People don't have to spend a bomb individually on shipping to bring products in for clean products, for curl-friendly products. We'll bridge that. We'll create a curl store. And we will bring these products in, and we will tell them how to use it and how to make their curls pop. So let's do that. So bam, 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 bam. It happened in a month. A curl store was up with Vijay.
I want to ask you, what would you consider as the biggest spark? Because I know that you run this with your friend. You have your own line as well. So what would you consider as the biggest spark to start this? Basically,
it started with myself, basically. So I didn't know how to embrace my curly hair. I rebonded my hair every time in 6 months for 15 years. I did it for 15 years. And, as a kid, I was bullied for having curly hair. People would shoot the boys behind, or girls would shoot stapler bullets into my hair, the rubber eraser shavings into my hair. It was just very painful. And, I just wanted to continue to rebond it until hey, everybody will forget that I have curly hair. And then one day I had alopecia. I woke up with bald spots on my scalp, on my head. There was absolutely no hair. And this was a point where I was already in TV. So it was very painful when, if makeup artists or anybody were to style my hair, and then they say, hey, Ma, what's this? And they're not discreet, They're like, Ma, there's a hole. Or Ma, there's no hair here. Not. Like that. And I'll be like, quiet. Shh. like that, So that led to a lot of, and at that time I didn't have a lot of money to go for expensive treatments, and the steroid jabs gave me side effects like nausea and migraines, and it was very painful. So I started to do research about scalp study, and alopecia and all these things. Started to venture a little into Ayurveda and things like that, and finally found a way to kind of resolve hair loss, alopecia, scalp eczema, psoriasis, these kind of things. And that led to main game, right? But when I finished resolving these issues, I realized, okay, so now we cannot rebond our hair anymore already, because that's leading, all the chemical damage led me to this. So now what to do? So I had to research again, and then I stumbled upon the curly girl method. And curly girl method is actually so big in the US and in the UK and all that, but it's not suitable for our climate, our weather. Curly girl method, actually, they don't wash their hair for 30 days. We will die if we don't wash for 3 days.
The humidity is not forgiving. Yes.
No way, not happening. So I realized, okay, so now we have this treasure in our hands. How do we tweak this for our people? So I started experimenting with products, with methods, with how to transition slowly. So I wanted to document this on my social media platform. So I took it from the time that I started transitioning, which bleached and rebonded hair, half curly, half straight. Mm-hmm. And I took them entirely through with the products, the methods and everything, until I fully transitioned to what you see today. So that is exactly how it brought me there. And when I put it up the first time in my social media platform, I put it on my Instagram and I went to bed. I remember this very, very clearly. I went to bed. And then I woke up in the morning and I had 362 messages in my DMs. 300. I remember the number as clear as day. I will never forget it, because I never had that many messages in my life. My mother was over for me so much. So I was like, wow. And realized that so many people were going through this kind of thing, scalp issues, not knowing what to do with their curly hair. Lack of product, not lack of knowledge, scared to embrace, who got bullied, or who want to teach, who want to look after the children's curl, this kind of thing. So yeah, that was my spark. That was really my spark, that I said, okay, now I'll do it all out, because so many people actually need it, right? Yeah.
The number of times, even when I was in primary and secondary school, that I have heard my friends who went to straighten their hair, to rebond their hair, and it always stems down to the issue of insecurity of the curl. So I really have to say, it's really more than this being a wonderful idea. I think it takes a lot of courage to center yourself as the person and to put yourself out there. So congratulations once again. When you first started this journey, what would you say as some of the struggles as starting and running your own business per se?
I started main game during the pandemic. So that itself was a struggle, right? Because we're in the middle of a pandemic. But I think getting people to understand what this is about, that it is not a regular salon that you go to get like a perm done, or like a, I don't know, like a Korean wave done, like a rebonding done. It's more of a look good, feel good kind of place. It's a place where you come and you tell me, hey Maha, this is what I'm going through, help. And I'll establish an entire routine with you. We'll talk about lifestyle choices. We'll talk about stress levels. We'll talk about, your wash routine, the products you put into your hair, these kind of things, what is leading you to these scalp issues, So to get people to understand that I'm not doing the mainstream work here was the hardest part. And it was in the middle of a pandemic as well. So, there was just this thing about, suddenly you cannot go out, suddenly you can go out, suddenly 2 people, suddenly 5 people, and then you're just like, yo, that thing. So yeah, these kind of things were very, very challenging. That would be just putting it out there, letting people understand and let them get used to the idea that this is different itself was the biggest challenge.
I think taking both main game and main heaven into consideration, I just want to ask, because I think some people might just say, why give so much importance to hair? It's just hair. What encompasses embracing your own hair means?
Personally, for me, when I went all out and told everybody that, hey, I have conquered my insecurities. I have accepted myself for who I am. I didn't. My hair was still rebonded. What accept myself for who I am? You know, what am I talking about? You know, there is still that missing piece there. So to me, that was important. I had to accept myself for who I was, right? And not be afraid of like hiding under rebonding or like, you know, straightening my hair and all that aside. So that was for me. But I think, you know, for people who ask like, it's just hair what? Like that everybody go bald lah. You know what I mean? If I would be very, very honest about it, right? Like that everybody would be go bald and be fine with it. Why wouldn't you do it if it's just hair?
Yeah.
Right? Why would you, want to oil your hair, want to put products in your hair, want to perm it, want to color it, all these things if it's just hair?
That's right.
Yeah? So these are like reflective questions that you need to ask yourself. In my perspective, your hair is your crown. It makes you or it breaks you. If this is your crown, then you wear it proud.
Beautifully said. As a businesswoman,
Yeah.
of two companies, Main Game and Main Heaven, what do you think you would say is your proudest moment as a businesswoman, as an entrepreneur?
So with Main Game, I would say that I am the first curl coaching suite in Singapore. I did kickstart curl coaching officially in like a place itself, you know, where I give you a hands-on session where you look after your curls, you know, and you bring it back with you. It's literally like I impart a skill. With Main Heaven, we're also the first online curl store in Singapore.
There we go. Yes.
Yes, and yeah, these are like our biggest, proudest.
Time to represent, right?
Yes, it's so important, you know. Like there's something to call like our own, and it's not just like mine or VG's or something like that. Every curly girl who steps into our place or goes into the website will say, hey, I feel home, you know, acceptance. And I'm so glad that we were able to like give that to them.
Can I also ask some of your supporting pillars who have traveled this journey with you, who you'd like to point out?
My husband, Karthik, for sure, Karthik. Because when I did the oat milk video, that was my first. I don't know whether you guys have seen that video. During the pandemic, that was the video that actually kind of skyrocketed. And then people started asking me to make oat milk deep conditioners. And then I started selling them and they sold out like in hundreds. I mean, I'm one person, you know. And Karthik was there and he was like, yeah, you do it. You know, I was like, how? I have a full-time job. I was working then. And then he was like, you can, I'll help you. He did all the delivery. He went to each house and delivered the oat milk.
Oh my gosh.
You know, and Karthik, when I got retrenched from work during COVID, and I was like, okay, what do I do now? And I had this space that came to me, and I knew what I wanted to do with it, but I was so scared. Because like when the pandemic, right, we want to save every cent that we have. And Karthik said, no, go and do it. I know you can. You do it, I'll help you. Set this entire place up. You know, you have a vision, go for it. So I think if not for Karthik, right, it would be so... I mean, I may have still done it. I will not say that I wouldn't have done it. Knowing me, I would have still done it. But it would have been so much harder and maybe not now.
Right.
I may not have like done it now. I would have probably taken a longer time or just keep waiting for the right time that, you know, that we ought to actually make for ourselves, right? So Karthik is very, very important. My best friend, Nandini is like my pillar, my human diary. Without her, no decision made. Okay. So like we always discuss, you know, up, down, everything. And she's very practical. I think more than like her motivating me, she's very practical. Like if she tells me that this is nonsense, she'll tell me this is nonsense. You know, she'll just tell me like this is nonsense. Go and think about something else like that. You know, so I'm just okay. You know, so that my sister is like super supportive. You know, she's like my hugger. She's like my hugger person. So everything I go to her, and then she's always there for me, you know. VG, I think the reason Main Heaven happened is because VG and I came together, and we always look after each other. You know, when I cannot be here, she steps in. When she cannot be there, I step in. And we try to look after each other. And she's very determined. She's someone, not everybody you meet, you can do a business with.
That's right.
That's true. Very true.
Yeah, you need to vibe, right?
Yes.
Yes. Like, I'm sure you girls would know, like, you wanted to work together, you all had to vibe. So I think I had that vibe with VG. To this date, there was no one time where we ever said that this is hard, let's not do it anymore. We only said this is hard, let's get this sorted. So VG is very, very important, and she has been a very, very supportive pillar. So yes, these are the few people.
There's a lot of romanticizing when you become the idea of becoming your own boss. But I think there's a certain aspect to it when you realize when you become your own boss, you're also your own employee. So sometimes you find yourself working harder than ever because you take you feel like you owe it to the idea that you have, to the business that you have to give everything. But you are also a mom. So how do you find the balance?
It's very hard. In all honesty. I mean, there are so many times that I am so overwhelmed. Yeah, but I would say the hardest was when from the time he was newborn, I went back to work when he was about 1.5 months, when Rana was about 1.5 months, and it was crazy because I was breastfeeding and, there was this human and then there's work and all that, but when you're self-employed, you work, then you get money. No work, no money. You don't have a boss, to take like a hey, can I take my AL? Hey, can I take my maternity leave or compassionate childcare leave? No such thing. It was very hard. I would say I'm still figuring it out because this is a human we're talking about. His needs change. His requirements change. If we are allowed to feel so much, he's allowed to feel so much more. And we have to be there. I have to be there as a mom for him, right? So I'm a control freak. Okay. I like things to be done a specific way. I have to have my schedule in order, So Rana actually taught me that cannot, mommy. I show you that you cannot. Cannot, let me show you. So he, there's always unexpected changes with him when it comes to work. And then I have to make calls. So do I want to be there for him first? Do I need to finish work first? So that's where the time management comes in. So it's not that glamorous, honestly. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of hard work that people don't see. Of course, I let them into fragments of my life, right? People get to see fragments and, today I'm having fun with my son, then I'm at work, I look so happy. Inside I'm dying, no sleep, haven't eat dinner, haven't eat lunch and things like that. I did manage my time in a way where I chose Rana first because I'm doing this because I love it. But at the same time, it is a business. It makes me money, and that money is for the betterment of my family. And if I'm not there with my family, what is this money going to do for me? I chose it in a way where the first half of the day, I always try to spend it with Rana. And then I start my appointments later in the afternoon. I go to work. So about 2-ish, I start work at Suite. I go on until about 9-10 p.m. And then I come back home and, he's probably in bed or he's going to bed. He's already in bed mostly of that time. And then I go wash up and do my own things, my back end things, and look after myself a little bit. And then, I head to bed. I block out some weekends just specifically for him.
Any advice that you would like to impart on people who are looking to start a business, looking to do something that they are passionate about, but they are feeling hesitant, or they are feeling like, I don't know if the time's right. There's a lot of excuses that you will find when when you come to that state of maybe I should start something. That's when all the excuses will start to pop up. So do you have any piece of advice for those people?
I think the biggest fear when people want to do something new, it's the feeling of being unsure.
Yes.
Right? Unsure of the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
Unsure of getting off stability. Like you want to go to a new job also, you'll be like, this job is paying me really well. I'm really comfortable. Do I want to go to a new job? The feeling of the outcome is what that always stops us. Yeah. Insecurities we can, but we can conquer. But outcome we will never figure. We will never know unless we try. So go for it. If you think you want to do it. Take the first step forward. Everything else will follow. Universe loves a stubborn heart. So you want it bad enough, you will get it.
this is like a reality check question. You know, Priya was mentioning about excuses that people have when they want to start a business. But I think excuses is one thing. There's another side of it whereby it's called the money that is needed to start the thing. Because a lot of people, sometimes you want to start something.
Yeah.
But, you know, to fund it or to like be able to sustain it, that's one of like the biggest worry in a lot of people. If there's an advice that you can give in terms of that, what would that be?
I would say start small. You know, find a way to make that bigger thing happen. I'll give you an example, okay? I'll be very openly, I will tell you guys very honestly that when I wanted to start Main Game, I did have savings with my husband, but I did not want to touch that. Yeah, because that was like family savings, right? So I was not going to touch that. Every cent that I made out of oat milk, making oat milk, is exactly the money that went into Main Game. That place that you see today is from that. Like, you know, mixing pots and pots of oat milk is how Main Game happened. And I knew that, you know, I wanted to take this money and make this happen. So did it happen overnight? Was the money handed over to me? I know that if I put the money here, I will have no money. I have to work here to make back the money. But was I willing to do it? Yes. Some fear is good. But don't let fear consume you.
What is next for Maha? What is 2023 going to be all about for Maha?
I look forward to my house. On personal goals, I look forward to my house, you know, making it a home. And, you know, I want to travel. Rana will be a bit bigger. I want to like travel with my family, my little family, you know. As for work goals, I do want to expand. I do have some expansion plans, but I want to plan it. Right? Like you said, I am a mom at the end of the day, and I cannot let myself like, you know, drown into this and ignore the other parts of my life. So I want to plan that. Expansion is in my head. For Main Heaven, we're looking at bigger things. Like hopefully we get into some, you know, mainstream stores. Like, you know, let's get that Sephora and that Watsons and all that.
Time to make it happen.
Let's try, you know. So we do have some plans.
But before I let you go, one last thing I want to ask you, because you are running your own business, so please go ahead to do your business plug here and promote like where people can find you if they are having troubles with their hair. What would you do for them?
Thank you. So you will find me on Maha Bites, okay? So that's MAHA-BITES, like bites. For licorice, which is like hair loss issues, alopecia, scalp issues. Scalp issues is for everybody, not just curly hair people. Yeah, I want to make that very, very clear because people get confused. Scalp issues and curl coaching, you'll find me at Main Game. Yeah, Main Game SG. So that's at Main Game SG. And then for curl products, like online curl store products, you'll find me at Main Heaven SG. These are the 3 platforms, guys.
Thank you so much for joining us on Sit Still Look Pretty. I mean, we wish you immense success in your personal and professional life. You deserve it. And we can't wait to see all that you accomplish. And thank you so much for joining us. Have a happy 2023.
Thank you so much for having me on the show, Priyanka and Priya. I mean, it was a pleasure. This is my first podcast. And like I told you girls earlier privately, this is something so special because no one else is doing it. And representation is that important. Yeah, so thank you girls for doing this for us. And I'm completely honored to be on your show.
This recording cannot go on forever. And that brings me to the quote of the month. So the quote of the month is, your time is now. Chase that dream now. Live now. Be here now. Follow your heart now. Take chances now. If you don't take every opportunity now, who knows when it will come again? Now or never. So pick now.
Wow. I think you couldn't have picked a more suitable quote for this month's episode. So if there's one thing to take away, just pick now, guys. And I want to say that when we started Sit Still Look Pretty, it was truly against all odds, I think. But we were crazy and insane, and we picked now and we went for it. And I can sit here now and say I don't think I'll ever regret it for the rest of my life. I think it was truly the best decision that has ever been made. And I feel like all good things always start off that way. So you start now and you'll find the reason in the future.
Very nicely said. I think it's clear to say that nothing in life is a bed of roses. Like, it just never comes to you. And to be really honest, the future of Sit Still Look Pretty, I dare to say that it's obviously uncertain, because you can never have like a straight
that's true.
future that you're walking into and knowing that, okay, all these great things in life is going to happen. I don't know where, if I'm sitting at this point and I can safely say that I don't know where this is all going to lead to. But if there's one thing that I know for a fact is, as long as Priya and I are doing this, or whatever it might be that we are doing, we will always choose the now option, in the sense of to work with our heart right now, to hustle right now, to do everything and anything that is needed for Sit Still Look Pretty or everything else in our life, like right now. And I think the importance of now sometimes never gets understood, because of the fact that we all have to accept the fact that we are such procrastinators, right? Like, we always wait for a...
So brutal, Priyanka.
No, I'm also including myself, because there's always things that we all say, this will be done next week. Can be done tomorrow. And then it just never comes. So just harness your now. If your soul feels right, this is what you want to do. Now, guys, like, now is the time to go and start it. Go and do it, you know?
But we just want to say, when we say start now, do it now, whatever that you're choosing to do, it's your own. It's your own journey that you're beginning. So for some people, it could be starting their own business. For some people, it could be finally applying for a degree that they've always wanted. For some people, it could be finally going on that solo trip around Europe and, having a different perspective in life. So you decide what you're going to do. But what we are trying to do is say, we're giving you a timeline and saying, do it now.
That's right. And also to keep in check, your 2023 resolution, it has been 1 month. Are you doing it now? So brutal.
That's why we don't do relationships. That's why we don't do resolutions here at Sit Still Look Pretty. We don't do relationships either. But that's for another day. Thank you. We'll catch you next month with a new guest and a new cup of tea. It's been Priya
and Priyanka
on Sit Still Look Pretty, 'cause girl, you're more than a quick gaze.